Hi guys, it's Janet here with Living Room Talks. I have Monroe Abram with me. Monroe, first question to you. What are your thoughts and emotions on current events?
I guess right now, no, my stuff is mixed. It's mixed emotions because a lot of the stuff that is going on now that people think this is something new and it's not new. This stuff's been going. This stuff has been going on for years. Like I say, like I use the example, like I say, the stuff like, George Floyd, the police being, brutality. I said, Richard Pryor was joking about this 40 years ago. I remember as a kid, like in the mid 70s, Richard Pryor had a whole bit about black guys getting beat up, getting beat up by the cops. And so like I said, so like people like just felt like, this just opening their eyes. It's not, it's nothing new. And I think the part that gets me more is that, like, even though they're seeing it, they're not seeing it at the same time. It's like, oh, well, this can't be happening. I'm like, yeah, it's happening, and it has been happening. You just hadn't, you either, you had blinders on, or you hadn't been around in my world to actually know that, to actually see this what's going on. So, you know, and with that, then like I said, then it kind of triggers back memories of some things like when I was growing up, in school and kind of things, and thinking about some, different, conversations and confrontations I had, as a kid, and seeing, how some of that has, I shouldn't say not manifested, but how things have, even though I was, when I was a kid, not maybe realizing what I was talking about, but then looking back on it, seeing like, yeah, these things have been happening and was going on, and we were talking about it, back then and until now.
With these recent events, were there some conversations you've had with people that were uncomfortable or unexpected?
I guess, not that they were uncomfortable to me. I think they were more unexpected. People coming to me and trying to have, trying to have trying to have these conversations, as far as as far as like race relations and things going on, and then it's like, some people feel like, they have to be, feel like, I don't know, now they got to feel like they got to be apologetic or kind of walk on eggshells because of the things that's going on, and it doesn't have to be that way. We just had a conversation, just talk. It's going to be, it's going to be some things, that you may not want to hear, some things that, that you're going to hear some things from my perspective that, you might never thought about it, that thing. But, I think the biggest thing is that, if people just, willing to listen and just kind of see what it's like being, in my shoes for a while. Cause, I'm always, I know more about your world than you know about mine.
What is something that you would tell people about your world?
You know, what would I say? My world is not all bad. It's not all good. It's not as stereotypical. It's not as stereotypical as you think. I didn't, to I guess to give you an example of that, when my kids when my kids were in school, a lot of times the administration, when I, like, if they, they call, had something going on with a kid, you know, they were surprised to see me coming to come to the office to see about my kids. They were like saying, like, why are you here? I said, well, I'm their father. They was like, think, just because, they're black, that, they're not, they're not a single parent home. They do have two parents, and, I'm here and I'm seeing, I'm coming to see about, I'm coming to see about my kid or my kids. And they're like, and so like people would think that was, it was almost like that was like, for some of them, it was like an anomaly or like a unicorn. I'm like, there are two, black people do have do have two parent households that they actually care about, they actually care about the parent. And I can say, it's just like, don't, don't believe the stereotypes, don't believe the stereotypes that, that you see or portray, because like, you know, everybody, everybody is not like that. Even people who might have stereotype and may have, may have some traits that are typical are not stereotypical either. So That's why I would say, if you're gonna look at my world, don't look at it from, don't try to come at me like with stereotypes. Listen to what I have, listen to what I bring out to what I have and what we do, and then we can then you could put you could put all that aside. Don't judge me by my cover.
You said that these conversations were happening 40 years ago and they're happening now. What is some of the biggest disappointments and some of the most encouraging aspects of it?
I guess some of the disappointment is that, some of the stuff is still, it's still, it's still the same as it was when I was a kid. And, and we still, and you still talking about the same, the same exact subjects. That's probably the sad part. The hopeful part is that, now these conversations I think have advanced further on now, where people, are kind of really want to sit down and kind of want to talk about it, or people like, okay, we need to look at this and kind of make some, let's look and see if we can make some changes, what we could do. So people are finally, I think, kind of want to sit down and come to the table. It may not be exactly, where it should be right now, but I think, if, you get more people talking, get more people coming to the table, I think eventually, we can take it on and advance by that. I'm hoping for that anyway.
In that same breath, in athletic training and diversity, what has been frustrating and what has been exciting?
I think the first frustrating thing is that sometimes, being underestimated for what for the work that we can do. Like a lot of times in a lot of situations I've been the only person of color, in the situation with doctors and stuff. And then I get sometimes I've been underestimated for what I know. They don't believe that I had the education or know exactly what I'm talking about or know exactly what to do. And then I have to show them exactly what I know, exactly what I do, and they seem to be like astonished by that. I'm like, again, I got the same education you got. I might experience some other things that you haven't experienced. So I know I know these things coming, coming across. And I think one of the other things also too sometimes is disappointing when I see sometimes is that some not taking care of the patient. I mean by that is not really like listening to your patient or listening to your athlete about exactly what's going on. I know one of the things I used to hear a lot when I worked in college. A lot of times we had some kids that would transfer from larger schools that would come over that would come to the like Tennessee State and Savannah State. And one of the things they would always say was that, wow, you listen to me. My athletic trainer before, he didn't really listen to me. He just just kept doing these treatments and brushed everything off, And sometimes I took that, I don't know, was that, sometimes a racial barrier going in with that, was saying that, because like, maybe, like previous athletic training really didn't take time to try to sit down and try to, understand whether, where the athlete was coming from. Maybe it was the type of language that that the athlete used that he didn't try to, they didn't communicate and try to listen to him. So I always try to let's come back and try to listen to your athlete, because a lot of times they can guide you into the right direction and trying to, fix their problem or what's going on and what's wrong. Because everything that fit into a shoebox. One of the things I think that I'm excited about seeing in athletic training, I'm seeing more diverse pool coming in now. They're coming into the profession. I don't know why all these people were hiding before. I don't know where they hiding under rocks or whatever. But compared to when I got in to what I see now, I see a lot. I'm happy to see a lot more coming, coming into the profession, but not even to athletic training profession, but just kind of in the allied health profession period, including PTs, orthopedics, and that thing. Because I think, we need more. We need more there, because I think a lot of times, patients relate better when they see somebody who kind of looks like them, or someone who, or or someone who can, who can relate to them in a certain, in a certain way. Sometimes it's just the fact that, I have, that person might have, oh, I got somebody to call them taking care of me. So they may be a little bit, they may be a little more sensitive or care more about my needs, what's going on.
Switching gears a little bit.
Mhm.
So you've been in the profession a while, so you've probably read a million resumes. What are some of the mistakes that people make on their resumes, and what stands out to you?
Some mistakes people make on resumes. One of them, I thought I looked at a resume. Matter of fact, not too long ago, formatting was one thing I thought with resumes. It's funny that you mentioned it because they asked me, because like at Middle Tennessee State, they have an athletic training program, and so every year they have mock interviews for their graduating seniors. And so they asked me to come in and be one of the interviewers for their interviews. And I just got finished doing it right before Christmas. So something I see, like, people don't format resume, they don't format resumes right. They don't put stuff in good text, or they use too small of a font, or sometimes they use the same wording quite a bit in their resume. They don't have they don't have a flavor. I always tell people, it's two things I tell people about resumes. One thing I always say was that I say, not trying to be not trying to be sexy or anything, but I tell everybody it's like you trying to pick up that girl or trying to pick up that guy to be like your boyfriend. You got to give me something that want me to come back and want more, to ask you more. So you got to put some of your resume that's gonna make that's gonna make me wow. Say, hey, I want this. Come back, come back a little more. Or like I told one guy, to give you an example, he had a decent resume. I said, man, like, what you got me is peanut butter. I need some jelly. I need some jelly with the peanut butter. I said, you give me a little bit of, you gave me a little flavor, but you're not giving, you're not giving me enough. So that's probably one of the biggest things I see with resumes. And other things too is that, who you don't and who you do put down for your reference. And the reason I say that, because it's like, athletic training is already a small niche and a small community. So people know people. And then especially if you like people of ethnic diversity or color, it's a much smaller niche. It's like I say, in my hometown. It's like my hometown. Like I said, you 6 degrees of separation in my hometown, Macon, Georgia. You 6 degrees of separation from knowing somebody. I say in black Macon, you cut that in half. You 3. So with that, you have to put, so like I said, and with that, to give you an example, matter of fact, it was, I got a resume one time, and I saw he had got the school he had went to, I knew the athletic trainer there, and he didn't put his name down for a reference. So that raised a red flag in my mind already. So like, what I did was I just scooped all the other his other references away, and I made a beeline, and I called the guy. I called the trainer at the school saying, "Hey, what's going on here?" I said, I got one of you guys here. He ain't use you as a reference. What's going on? So, but it turns out, he didn't know. The student didn't know he didn't know that student was applying for me. So anyway, they got back together. They had a little talk about that, and like I said, so that's that's always the thing. So I said, like, choose your references. Choose your references wisely, because like I said, you don't know who knows who, or who can make a phone call here, or make a two phone calls ahead to find out what's going what's about you and that thing. So so like I said, keeping your references close, and keeping and kind of making your resume stand out. So like I said, if you've done something that's unusual, or something or something that's highlighted, not only highlighted in your cover letter, highlight highlight that in your resume too, and put more exactly what you did, because sometimes that might be the thing that might push you over to put you over in the A pile instead of the 69 pile in the trash.
Next up of the hiring process is their
Mhm.
interview. What
Right.
mistakes and what do you look for in a good interview?
Mhm. I used to always look for, the first thing I would say, first impressions always make a difference. So I would say, looking at somebody's dress or that thing. But I think I kind of got past that a little bit because sometimes, just because a person's not dressing well, dressed right, doesn't mean he's going that he's not going to interview well. So, well, I guess what I look for in the interview is that know something about the position that you're applying for, know something about the place that where you're going to do and apply for. So you need to do your homework and due diligence about the place where you're applying for to know, because if you know about me and know about interviewing, and when I interview you, then I think you might be more interested in actually coming in for the job. That's the other thing I look for when people interview too. I'm looking for someone, I'm looking for stuff, like people, who can show their go-getter, self-starter, that kind of thing, as far as, knowing that you're gonna be able to work and get the job done. I guess one of the things I always used to say, like I used to say, don't make me have to pull my fire hose out when I come back. So I shouldn't be putting out a whole bunch of fires if I give you a team or leaving you and leaving the person in charge or something. And I guess, and I also interview too is that, be able to expound on questions. I had an interview one time, the guy gave me a lot of yes and no questions, but he didn't, expound on it, expound on the answer. So like, again, you're not giving me more, you're not giving me, you got to give me much to go with. So you got to give something to go ahead and go with. But it's like, but I think as far as, going back, I said about the dress, about the dress thing, you got to be, you got to be neat. You can't just come in, in jeans and a sweatshirt, showing that, you take some time and some pride and put some pride in for yourself.
I'm sure you've had a lot of people ask you to be a mentor. Have you ever had to say no to people, and what was the reason why?
I don't think I ever said no to being a mentor, but what I have done is that, I might not, what I've done is that, somebody might ask me to be a mentor, but I may not be able to help you exactly for what you want your mentorship for. And so what I did was I put you in place with somebody else who I know who could probably give you a better way of where you want to go more than I can. Sometimes sometimes I give you the basics or now I give you more than the basics, but someone, say like, if you're looking to just throw out there, for example, you looking to do an NBA track, I'm not the person, to get you the NBA, but I can put you in play. I can put you in touch with a person who can get you there and get you on your track. So I never turn anybody else down from being a mentor, because I always feel, maybe I can give you a nugget or something that maybe help you along that you may be able to take, you may be able to use. And I don't know that. And maybe I can say, I look at it sometimes again as a two-way street. Sometimes I might learn something from my mentee that I can use as well. So, but like I say, if you want more, then I say I try to put you in place to put you in touch with those people, who can take you further.
What would you say to YPs who are apprehensive about approaching someone to be their mentor?
I would say, we are approachable. Just because, I like myself been in the game about 30 years, doesn't mean that I'm not that I'm not approachable. I relish the fact that, that you would come asking, ask me and talk to me about, just, you ain't just gotta be a mentor, just being there and doing doing some things. Like I said, like, I guess, for example, like I said, now just using Dr. Bell, the thing how I was kind of grew organically. It wasn't that, I was actually going out, trying to, perceptively seeking a mentor, I always took nuggets, from older people or people who had been in the game a little bit longer than I have. but always just trying to, when it came down for someone being a mentor, it just kind of, like I said, it just grew. It just kind of grew organically. We asked a couple of questions here. I like, I've, felt like he took an interest in me. I was taking an interest in him, and then, and then it just grew. And then, we talked about a whole bunch of other things other than what comes out of this, a mentor for sports medicine. Because I think if you look at it, that person might be a mentor for sports medicine to you, but I'm sure you can use that person for advice for all other things, family life, stuff you got going on in work, stuff you got going on in your personal life. It doesn't just have to be in the box. Of sports medicine. It can start that way, but it can grow. But it can grow out. It can grow out to be that way. And the thing is, you got to look at too is that young professionals might be they might be a little apprehensive, but with that too. But at the same time, they got to realize too, just because you made me certified, like. You ain't, some of them sometimes think they're the big boss in the room too. And you can't be the big, you ain't been in long enough to be the big, the big boss. So like, don't think, like you too good to come over, and speak and speak to someone and come in, like I said, it can start from a hello and a handshake and just, and go ahead and go from there and ask a couple of questions. And just take it from there.
So this is my favorite part of the conversation. Monroe, tell me about an embarrassing moment you've had as an athletic trainer.
I had a couple, a few. The one that comes to mind right now is that when I was at Savannah State, we were in the middle of a game. And so anyway, they had to kick off and the opposing team had went back and ran a touchdown to open the kickoff. So I got a dude that got hurt on the kickoff down on the field. The referee didn't see him. And so anyway, he didn't never blow the whistle to go down. So I looked downfield. So they gonna get ready to kick a field goal. I said, okay, I can just right here on the field, go get him and come back and get him off. The kick got blocked. And so we got the ball back and it's coming back the opposite way toward me. So I'm looking at that. So we look at that and I'm looking up and the play is coming back toward me. So I said, I got the play. I said, we got to get up. We got to go. And so anyway, I think I got him off like halfway out the field and I let him go. I thought he was running with me. He drops down on the field. I go back to the side and I had to go get him and pick him back up. And so, he ran touchdown. So that was like one serious embarrassing moment that I had.
Oh, we picked him up and we dropped him.
Yeah, we got him because the play was coming. It was like we were like 20 yards away from about to getting hit. So because he was up on his own power. So I thought he was gonna get off, and he didn't quite make it.
That could be my favorite one so far. All right, Monroe, next couple minutes for you, your closing statement.
I guess to just say, for you got for the YPs, just say that, hey, you just keep doing what you do. I know, right now, I know some things are getting frustrated with stuff happening, going around in the country and in the world, and some of that, infiltrates your world as far as in your sports medicine and dealing with your athletes. But I would say, like these things will pass. You got to know yourself, know your worth. Use your education that you have, because like you have that, can't nobody take it away from you. If you know your stuff, the good will come out. I always say, cream rises to the top. It may not rise as fast as you think it should rise, but eventually it's going to come. So like I say, keep grinding, keep doing your due diligence. And I just say this way, as one coach always said, he always said, if you be good, football coach said, if you be good to the game will be good to you. So I say the same thing in athletic training, sports medicine. If you be good to sports medicine, be good to athletic training, in return, it will be good to you.
Monroe, is always a pleasure, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. All right, Janet. And I get back, I guess, on